The Lincoln Navigator is revamped for 2025, gaining fresh exterior styling, a new liftgate design, and an all-new dashboard with a full-width 48-inch display screen. Here are a few things we like and dislike about Lincoln's largest SUV. From the moment you approach and are greeted by the animated headlight and taillight startup sequences, there is no question the Navigator is a luxury vehicle. The Navigator's interior is focused on coddling. It comes fully loaded with luxury features like 30-way adjustable front seats with heat, ventilation, and massage, a fantastic sounding 28-speaker Revel audio system, and of course the dazzling full-width dashboard display. There's even a digital sense fragrance diffuser feature and a rejuvenate function that uses the dashboard display, sound system, climate control, fragrance diffuser, and massaging seats for a 5 or 10 minute spa-like relaxation experience.
Damon, wake up.
Yep. All Navigators have a twin turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 that makes 440 horsepower and is paired with a smooth shifting 10-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive. This powertrain is excellent. It delivers smooth, strong acceleration, and it sounds great too. The muted burbly exhaust note is deep enough that you'd be forgiven for thinking it's actually a V8. The Navigator's standard BlueCruise hands-free driver assist system makes for a more relaxing experience whether you're in heavy freeway traffic or on a long road trip. And like the similar revamped 2025 Ford Expedition, the Navigator now has a liftgate tailgate arrangement instead of just the typical liftgate. There's a separate lower section here that lowers like a pickup tailgate. This arrangement is good for keeping cargo items from rolling out when you've got the tailgate up. It does put you a little bit further out of the vehicle for reaching to the back of the cargo area, but that's not really a big issue. There's also a clever separate panel that can be configured as a cargo shelf, a table for tailgating or what have you, and a backrest if you want to use the lowered tailgate as a seat. There's also some handy adjustable lights built into the liftgate for after dark tailgating. Lincoln did have to make some compromises to accommodate for this full-width dashboard display, however. This is a squircle-shaped steering wheel. Instead of a normal circle, you've got more of a rectangular shape, and that's so the driver looks over the steering wheel to look at the dashboard display, which kind of needs to be at the base of the windshield for proper sight lines. So it makes for a little bit of an awkward driving experience. Lincoln used the same basic dashboard display and steering wheel setup in its Nautilus SUV last year, and frankly, I'm not a huge fan of the setup. And I especially don't like it in a gargantuan 6,000-pound SUV like the Navigator. Hand-over-hand steering maneuvers are much more awkward than they would be with a normal circular steering wheel. And now, no full-size SUV is a picnic to maneuver in tight parking spots and the like, but this steering wheel makes the Navigator worse. I drove it for a little over a week, and I didn't fully get used to it in that time. The Navigator does have some virtual controls that make things a little more complicated than simple physical controls would be. And even though once you dial in your steering wheel and rear view mirror position, you don't need to use them a lot, it's still tedious to adjust. You have to use this touchpad on the steering wheel, which brings up a corresponding display on the dashboard to move the steering column up and down. Again, once you have it set, you're not going to be using this a lot, but it's still a little more tedious than it has to be. Same situation for the air vents. I don't know what's wrong with just a simple physical tab on the air vent itself, but the Navigator has, like its Nautilus sibling, touch screen controls that give you a virtual representation of the air vent's position. So you have to adjust it via the touch screen. I guess you get used to it, but what was wrong with just a normal physical control? In my book, a six-figure, full-size luxury SUV should have ample passenger space in all 3 rows, but for me, the Navigator doesn't. I'm surprisingly cramped in the second row. I've got the front seat all the way back and my knees are hitting the hard seat back here. And even worse is my headroom with the panoramic sunroof housing taking a few inches of headroom space. I have my head brushing the headliner. Now, of course, it does have reclining seat backs, but I don't feel like I should have to put myself in lazy boy mode for adequate headroom. Now, I am 6'6", I'm super tall. Most average size adults are probably gonna be okay, but again, this is a huge full-size SUV, and I feel like the second row room should be better. Now, I had lower expectations for the third row. I don't expect there to be quite as much space in the way back. By those standards, the Navigator was okay, and there is a Navigator L model, which gets you both more headroom and legroom in the third row seats. Even by full-size SUV standards, the Navigator's ride is on the nautical side. Sharp bumps, pavement swells, things like railroad crossings really cause a lot of bouncing and wallowing. It's a pretty floaty ride overall, not quite as buttoned down as I would prefer, even for a full-size SUV. For more information on the 2025 Lincoln Navigator, including our full review, be sure to head to Cars.com.